Hey, yo, what's going on, YouTube? Don't forget to like this video, comment on it, share, subscribe, smash the bell notification, hit the Cash App link in the description box if you want to continue to support the podcast, continue and support free speech, because, hey, like I always say, bro, you don't know how much time we got left. Hey, let me say this, man. Everyone in the world has privilege. There's tall privilege, short privilege, smart privilege, rich privilege, pretty privilege, fat privilege, Asian privilege, white privilege, Indian privilege, being healthy privilege, privilege of being born with athletic DNA, being born in America privilege, as opposed to being born in, I don't know, Botswana. The list is endless. But the point is, everyone has privilege, including, that's right, black people. But no one will talk about it. No one will admit it. No one will discuss it or even consider it. Even attempting to make the claim that blacks have privilege, well, it'll get you in hot water. How dare anyone question blacks? And because of that, blacks not only have privilege, they have the most powerful privilege of all, which is everyone must deny that black privilege even exists. And if it's always made to seem like you don't have any privilege, well then, people will always be trying to knock everyone else down while lifting you up because you're the only one who doesn't get any advantages, right? It's a classic psychological and sociological play to usher in black supremacy. If you can't see it, well then you fucking Stevie Wonder, man. So the greatest privilege of all is to be afforded the opportunity to say you have no privilege, effectively making you the eternal victim and perpetual good guy. In essence, always letting blacks play the feel sorry for me role, to paint the picture and make it look like what they got had to be earned by some tremendous, extraordinary amount of work and sacrifice, which will then make them seem to be better people than everyone else, because they were never afforded the same opportunities in life, and it was all about their grit and tenacity and blood, sweat, and tears. This whole thing about claiming blacks don't have privilege at its core is really about trying to make blacks look superior and making other people look bad or feel guilty, to make it seem like they've never been handed things in life, or because of their skin tone, they've always had to work extra hard, more than anyone else ever could. It's all bullshit, right? Go ask LeBron James' son if he has any privileges, man. So I thought I'd make a video tonight, not only to point out that black people actually have the greatest privilege of all, but also to give a list of other privileges that black people have, because like I said at the start of this video, everyone has privilege. So before I begin, I'd like to remind everyone in America, a black person can be the president, an astronaut, a doctor, a lawyer, an actor, a scientist, a talk show host, a movie director, anything in the world that they want to be if they have the goods and make smart choices in life. But now, on top of this, blacks are being afforded unfair advantages and privileges, such as they cannot be condemned or held accountable for any of their actions. Any attempt to do so is immediately silenced and met with hostile resistance. Point out black on black crime, for example, and you'll be called a racist. Say black rapists shouldn't be memorialized on NFL helmets, and you'll be called an idiot Trump supporter. Point out how odd it is that black people kill more white people than white people kill black people in this country, and that we're still forced to say Black Lives Matter, and you can lose your job. 6% of the population, black males 18 to 30, commit over 50% of the violent crime in the entire country, but no one's allowed to talk about it because we can't make black people look bad. Black people have so much privilege, we can't even speak the truth about them. People are even in the streets right now. I don't know if you've seen the video the other day. People are even in the streets right now chanting, "Protect black criminals" on megaphones. People would never march in the streets chanting, "Protect white criminals." Let's just keep it a buck. So let's get into some more examples of black privilege, shall we? Number one, people pay black felons fines so they can go vote, because it's the presumption they will go out and vote Democrat. LeBron James and others, such as Mike Bloomberg, Mikey Bloomberg, just paid $16 million, which mainly targeted paying fees for black felons so they could go vote. But they're not going out and paying the white felons fees. White felons want some fees paid too, man. Talk about a goddamn privilege, huh? Number two, if someone ever does anything bad to a black person, people will assume that it had to have racism behind it. They will assume it was racially motivated. It couldn't just be that the black person did anything wrong or that the black person was in the wrong. Nah, this is a huge privilege because people never hold you accountable. Instead, they assume that you're always the victim of fucking racism. Then those same people will turn around and fight for you. They'll riot for you. They'll cry for you in the streets. They'll wash your fucking feet. They'll bow to you. They'll make up false outrage for you and virtue signal how much they love you. They do this even when, most of the time, there's no evidence at all to suggest that it had anything to do with racism. For example, Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. I'd turn into a goddamn skeleton right now waiting for any evidence to come out that they were killed because they were black. There is no evidence. It's a baseless assertion and unprovable assumption afforded to black people and not to anyone else. People just made it up. They literally just made it up because they want to suck black people's you know what, man. And that's a privilege, baby. Number 3, let's be frank. People kiss black people's asses. I've seen it with my family, friends, my wife, teammates, coworkers, etc. Everywhere in life. People kiss black people's asses and are overtly nice to them all the time. I've seen my coaches do it. I've seen my tutors do it. I've seen customers at work do it. I've seen the media and reporters do it. It's inescapable, man. It's in fucking escapable. If you deny it, you're fucking lying, man. You could go turn on CNN right now and watch how Wolf Blitzer acts, how he lights up when he's got a black guest come on his show compared to someone else. Sure, some people don't like blacks, just like some people don't like whites. But for the most part, way more people light up when they see a black person. They smile a lot. They try to be friendly. They try to impress them. They try to act cool. They want them to fucking like them. It's pathetic, man. It's fucking guppy. But it's black privilege, baby. Number 4, you as a black person can say that your life matters at work and not get fired for it. You can wear a shirt that says your life matters and not get beat up in the streets for it. You can put a bumper sticker on your car that says your life matters and not get paint thrown on it or the windows busted out. I can't tell people that my life matters or do any of those things because that's only a privilege that black people get. Even though black people kill more whites every year, we still have to turn around and say that your life matters. And then we're told to shut up, brain tumor. Then we're told to shut the fuck up if we say our lives matter. Imagine that, man. Imagine that fucking privilege. Number 5, you can be a criminal and people will say that no one should call the cops on you. Nah, I'm not fucking playing, dude. You can be an actual black criminal and people will say that no one should call the cops. This is privilege in its finest. And it's a privilege that will never be afforded to white people. Go watch the video of the CVS worker where the black shoplifter steals some shit. The store manager calls the police and then the black lady says, "You're not supposed to call the police on black people." It's insanity, man. Now, this is where you say, well, that's because cops kill black people more than they do whites. And I say, bull fucking shit, Guppy. Go watch my video where we do that little math lesson for you and we add in all the variables. Or go watch the video titled, "Quit Lying, White People Get Done Way Worse." Number 6, we already kind of touched on this, but you as a black person can kill way more people than people kill you. But then you can still get the whole world to chant that your life matters. Now that's a fucking privilege that I want to have, man. Number 7, we also kind of touched on this one briefly too. People virtue signal for blacks. Blacks like me more than they like you. Blacks believe what I say is true more than what you say. Blacks are on my side. Blacks agree with me. Everyone wants to fucking fight to prove that black people like them more, dude. It's fucking pathetic. But hey, black privilege. Number 8. You, if you're a black person, you can call white players bitch ass white boy or a racial slur in the NBA and not even get a warning, let alone a goddamn suspension or a fine. There will be no huge backlash or outrage against you. You are essentially allowed to be a racist piece of shit if you're black. Now that's a fun privilege to have. Number 9, how about the Black America Beauty Pageant? Because apparently Miss USA or Miss America wasn't good enough for you, so you're allowed to start your fucking own. Even though black women are allowed in Miss USA and Black America, apparently wasn't good enough, so you were allowed to start your own. But if white women tried to start their own white-only pageant, everyone be fucking crying and whining, dude. But hey, black privilege. Number 10, you can yell, "White people are going extinct," on an airplane full of people and no one will punch you in the face. People will just still try to talk nice to you, still try to be calm and talk rationally to you. No matter what outlandish, insane, black supremacist bullshit you have to say, people will still try to be nice to you. No one's going to punch you in the face. Just like the video of the black lady on the plane the other day yelling at the stewardess. Number 11, you can kill 2,500 of your own people every year and only make up 13% of the population. Then you can get everyone not to focus on it. What kind of privilege is this, dude? In other words, you can be the biggest murderers and criminals in the country and still have the privilege to get people to turn around and look the other way, to be on your side, and to get people to focus on smaller issues like cops. Number 12, lesson plans now in school. Lesson plans are now in school teaching kids Black Lives Matter propaganda and that black people are superior and white people are inherently inferior because they're born racist and they can't help it. Now, racism is obviously a negative attribute, right? Not having it, therefore, would be positive. Therefore, you're afforded, as a black person, you're afforded the privilege of schools teaching children and our youth that you're superior to whites and that whites are inferior. Hey, that's a good privilege. Number 13, you can have pride in your black skin and not be assumed to be a racist. Nah, pretty self-explanatory, right? You can talk about your melanin, how it makes you better, or your melanin makes you more compassionate, or black don't crack. Even something as simple as that, which is a play on superiority because it's saying, well, white does crack. What if I were to say, whites don't crack on the inside, we don't die as fast? I'd be called out in a second as fucking racist, dude. Or how black people always say, we're the kings and the queens of the earth. Instead of people resisting them or fighting back or condemning this shit, condemning these racist, obvious racist claims, people will actually, instead of condemning them, they will support them. They will stand behind it. They will support you for having those racist views, those black supremacy views. Black supremacy views. Now that is a goddamn black privilege, baby. Number 14, many schools have decided to do away with the SAT and test scores, so blacks have a better chance to get into college. Talk about privilege. We will lower our standards just so you can come join us. I want people to lower some standards, maybe in the NBA or some shit, so maybe I could go play point guard for the Knicks. Number 15, your children will be selected over white children at tryouts based on what is called assumed athletic potential. Let me say that again. Number 15, your children, meaning black children, will be selected over white children at tryouts based on what is called assumed athletic potential. Even though your child may suck at the time and never develop into shit, put him next to a white kid who also sucks at the time, the black child will always make the team and be chosen over the white kid. Seen it a million times. Black privilege. Number 16, San Francisco City just decided that they're going to pay pregnant black women and Pacific Islander women $1,000, a $1,000 check every month just for being pregnant. Low-income whites who are high-risk pregnancies, they're not getting no checks. Why is that? Nice privilege to have, if you ask me. Number 17, you could be Nick Cannon or a black celebrity, some black famous person, I don't give a fuck who it is, and you could just come out openly and say white people are inferior, they're less than blacks, and not have a single person in your own community condemn you or show outrage, or even anyone in any other communities come out and show outrage against you. Not a single celebrity or famous person came out against Nick Cannon. Talk about black privilege. Imagine for 1 second that a white person said all the shit that Nick Cannon said, but in reverse. Number 18, you can block ambulances from letting people get into the hospital while chanting, "I hope you die," and not face unanimous public backlash. You'll actually get support for those actions. But let some white lunatics try to block an ambulance from getting into a hospital that has Beyonce in it and see what the people and the media and everyone have to say. I'm going to tell you, it ain't going to be so good. But hey, black privilege. Number 19, you can actually rape women and do drive-by shootings and still get your name on the back of NFL helmets. Huh? Hey, talk about a fucking privilege, dude. I know some people, I know some white rapists. I don't know them personally, but probably could find them online. And some white dudes that do drive-by shootings. They done got their goddamn name on the back of a helmet. Number 20, you can shoot a little kid. This one makes me mad. You can shoot a little kid in the back of his head for riding his fucking bike on your lawn and still be allowed to keep your GoFundMe up. But if you're white and run for your life and have to use self-defense, you won't be allowed to have a GoFundMe? I don't appreciate that, man. Number 21, you may not know this, but go check it out right now. Instagram, the all famous and powerful social media, Instagram, they allow the hashtag Black Power. Hashtag Black Power. But I want you to go try to put in hashtag White Power. See what happens. Then come back in the comments and tell me what you find. Number 22, sports leagues play the black national anthem before games, even though the regular national anthem isn't about race at all. It's about the country as a whole. It's about unity and about all of us. But blacks, in their black privilege, they get to be honored and have their own anthem before games? I don't even know if there even is a white anthem. But imagine how privileged you must be to get honored by your own skin, to have your own skin's anthem, and other races can't do the same thing, even though you kill way more of them every year. What kind of fucking sense does that make, man? Number 23, baseline. When I say baseline, what I'm talking about is foundationally. Everyone thinks black people are cool and hip, or that they're a good athlete or physically strong or some shit. Of course, it's not fucking true, but it's a privilege. And it's a privilege afforded to you as a baseline because people in society generally have the idea in their fucking mind that black people are athletic or physically strong or cool or hip or some shit. It's a huge privilege to walk into a room and people feel this way about you right off the rip before they ever know a goddamn thing about your character. They already think you're cool, man. They already think positive shit about you. Number 24, people will let black people be loud and obnoxious and rude and ratchet and not tell them to shut the, you know what I'm saying? They will not tell you to shut up. Usually because they're scared. So black people have the privilege of expression that other races are not equally afforded. Number 25, people pretend to be like black people. People pretend to be like you all the time because they know it affords them privilege. Rachel Dolezal, Vitolo Haddad, Ega Brozatowska, thousands of women all over Instagram, and many, many more. I got hundreds of examples, man. If blacks weren't privileged, no one would be going out of their goddamn way to try to be like you. They want to be black, dude, because they think it's good. Number 26, there are hundreds of programs in place to help black people, to give them scholarships, to give them jobs, affirmative action, bullshit. But poor white people aren't afforded these same privileges or opportunities. If a poor black person and a poor white person both go into a job or apply for the same scholarship program, you know who's going to get it? The black person's going to get it. Black privilege. Number 27, you get to have special words that you can use and you can say, and no one else is allowed to say them. Number 28, you can do hate crimes against white people. You can scream racist profanities at them through a bullhorn while they're just out eating dinner. And you won't get arrested. You won't get beat up. You won't lose your job. In fact, you will be applauded. White people can't do this. White people cannot get away with this. So I could go on, but this video would be 3 hours long. Hopefully by now you get the point. Now, let me say this. Of course, you could go through and you could say what causes each one of these things. Of course, you could go through each one and say this is the cause for these black privileges, but that's not what the point. That's not the point of this video. I could say what causes white privilege to exist too, or what causes wealthy privilege to exist, but this video is not about that. This video is to show that in fact black privilege does exist, and for you to stop lying. It's not to argue about what causes black privilege or what it stems from. Okay, so now let's get into. I got a couple videos. Let's get into what some other YouTubers have to say about black privilege, and I'm going to roll that right now. We're going to play those two videos. But before you get out of here, man, don't forget to like this video, share it all around the internet, subscribe to my channel if you like content just like this, because you know we're always going to keep it real, man. If you like free speech and you like podcasts like this, look in the description box, hit me up. Don't treat me like a side chick. Shoot your boy a little bit of that guapo dinero, okay? I love you guys. I'm out of here, man. Check out the videos right now, and I'll see you soon. Black privilege, don't deny it. I'm out, bro. Peace.
There has never been a time in history when groups of humans were not judging each other as inferior. It's built into us, and it has very little to do with skin color. In Europe, white people slaughtered each other for thousands of years. American Indians slaughtered each other before they ever saw a white person. Asians were slaughtering each other too, as were black people in Africa. Tribalism and otherism is what humans do naturally, and it has more to do with culture than color. This is why I'm always saying that we should all share one culture in America. Only black people get to act as if this human problem is aimed especially at them, and to therefore make every white person eager to prove how much he likes black people. That's an advantage that no small number of blacks have turned into lucrative careers. Ask half-black Colin Kaepernick how much Nike is paying him for not playing football. He's loaded, and his knees aren't even getting ruined, except for maybe kneeling on them too much. By the way, the white suck-ups who made Colin a star will do anything to avoid talking about the problem of black fatherlessness. But Kaepernick's black dad deserted his white mom, and 2 white people adopted and raised him so that he could get rich, complaining about white supremacy. The cool factor. Black people set most societal trends, and everybody else tends to follow. Many white people are desperate to be more like black people. Black privilege has strict rules. Black people must not be held to account for anything they do as a group. As long as they do it in numbers, white elites will write it off as a reaction to historic oppression. Since the George Floyd excuse came up, Marxists have hidden themselves behind African Americans. This way they can topple statues and burn down buildings at will. If there are enough black people in the crowd, no arrests will be made. The mostly white rebels of Seattle made sure that their graffiti included plenty of references to black victimology. They made sure to give a black person the bullhorn every day, and they hung a picture of Angela Davis on the police station they occupied. They even had blacks-only areas and a black warlord. They knew whose privilege was keeping the cops away. Remember the Rodney King verdict? Remember how those deadly riots were justified and called an uprising? Remember 2 years later how O.J. Simpson was given 9 black jurors because L.A. was scared to death of more rioting? Remember how he skated for those murders? Again, let me stress that most black Americans would reject this form of privilege 10 times out of 10. You were born in America. America is particularly sensitive to the history of black people. White people bear the shame of black slavery in a way that is unique in all the world. We're the only country that split itself in half and damn near killed itself off in order to abolish slavery. The Republican Party was formed to eliminate slavery. I would never make the mistake of saying that slavery was a net good for black people, but more black people have emigrated to the U.S. than were ever forcibly brought here. Why would they do that if they didn't think coming here would improve their lives? I don't see many Americans of any color emigrating to the countries from which black slaves were taken. You don't get a national holiday and a Black History Month without a lot of people in your corner. So that's just a rough outline of black privilege as it stands in America in 2020. You can keep playing this silly game with the white progressives if you want to. You can keep getting together with them to play civil rights reenactors every few years, or you can cut the crap and get busy making a good life for yourself. But you should do that knowing that apart from a few powerless losers, everybody is pulling for you. Right about now, it would probably be a good idea to trade in your resentment on some confidence.
Privilege, I define as a person receiving special treatment, whether it be special treatment due to a person being preferential to blacks or not. So, the first example I'm going to give of black privilege is the bus ride I recorded. They were at the back of the bus being excessively loud, excessively ignorant, and the bus driver said absolutely nothing to them because they were a bunch of loud, ignorant black people, and the driver was scared to say anything. The driver was scared to say anything to them because of the fact that they were black. However, if those people were white and they were on that bus acting out in the same way, the driver would have told them to stop. And the driver would have asked them to quiet down. Why is it that the driver would not ask the blacks to quiet down, but would ask the whites to quiet down? Because the driver was afraid of the behavior that the black passengers would take part in if he did. The driver was afraid that they would attack him, and he did not want to deal with it. Now, we're going to do this, and we're going to go a little deeper here. Let's talk about black privilege in white communities, because yes, it does exist in white communities, and I don't want people able to claim that this is just a black community thing. When I was living out in Apple Valley, there were some blacks who lived there. There was a lot of black traffic that came through Apple Valley that came from the cities. And that's because there's a bus called the Red Line, which takes you from the Mall of America into Apple Valley. They would take the Red Line into Apple Valley, and when they took the Red Line out there, they came out and caused nothing but problems. You could be inside of a library, and you got blacks being loud and ignorant inside of the library, and nobody asks them to quiet down. Now, if there's whites that are in the library, then the whites will be asked to quiet down. So again, this is another matter of black privilege, except this one is in a white community that blacks are given this preferential treatment, in which case they are actually the minority, and there's less of them. I'm going to talk about black privilege in terms of getting with white women, and I've experienced this. This is my own personal experience here, from where I grew up at. And I'm only half black. I had better opportunity at getting with any white girl in the suburbs. And even in the cities. That's why you see so many white girls that try to act like they're black, because they want to be with black men. Now the reason is because black men are viewed as exotic to these white women. I have had a white girl tell me straight out at a party, and she wasn't even like trash drunk or nothing. She told me straight out, "Hey, I hear you black ones have big ones. I want to try one." That right there is giving me preferential treatment in the dating and sex scene over all of the whites that are there.